Welcome to Study Show. My guest tonight is an animal behavior scientist who just finished a postdoc at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna, where she studied wolves and dogs at the Wolf Science Center, Dr. Rachel Dale. Rachel, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So full disclosure, we've actually met before, right? We used to work together in Thailand studying elephant cognition, but that was 6 years ago, and we haven't actually seen each other since then. After leaving Thailand, you decided that a life working with elephants could be topped by a life working with wolves and dogs, which seems fair enough to me. While I decided that doing elephant research every day wouldn't compare to being trapped indoors all the time and just talking about other people's research, which in retrospect sounds kind of dumb. So let's talk about your research. You've done a lot of research on prosocial behavior in wolves and dogs. What exactly does that mean? What is prosocial behavior?
Prosocial behavior is any behavior which benefits another. So, for example, altruism is a type of prosocial behavior. Prosocial behavior doesn't necessarily need to be altruistic. There doesn't need to be a cost to yourself. So you could also benefit from it, but it has to benefit another in some way.
Gotcha. Okay. You published a new study back in May. It's called Wolves But Not Dogs Are Prosocial in a Touchscreen Task. Tell me about how this study is designed. You actually managed to train wolves and dogs to use touchscreens, right? I think we've actually got a photo from the study. Can we? Is that not one of your?
That's not one of mine.
Okay.
No.
Well, so how did they use the touchscreens then? How did you get them to use them?
I was very lucky that the animals at the Wolf Science Center are already trained to use touchscreens. So we train them from a very early age how to touch a screen with their nose.
With their noses.
With their noses.
Okay.
And then you can present them, for example, with two different things, and they can choose one of the things by touching it with their nose.
Wow, that is adorable. And who's the lucky staff member who gets to wipe down the snot off of the screens after every...
I am. Yeah, I have to do it all.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so what question were you aiming to answer with this study?
So the question that we were aiming to answer is, are wolves prosocial, and how does their level of prosociality compare to dogs? With this study, we specifically wanted to directly compare wolves and dogs in the same experiment. We have done a couple of studies in the past with pet dogs showing that they can act prosocially, but we can't compare pet dogs with wolves, which are their closest living wild relative, because that wouldn't be a fair comparison. Wolves don't live in our homes. They don't have the same environmental upbringing. So we compared wolves with dogs that live in the same way. At the Wolf Science Center, they're raised in the same way, packs of wolves and packs of dogs. So we present them with two symbols, and they can choose one by touching it with their nose.
All right.
And during the training, they learned that if they touched the correct symbol, the giving symbol, they could go to the enclosure next door and receive a reward.
Okay.
Once they had learned this and were consistently choosing the giving symbol, then we presented them with the testing conditions. So in these conditions, the door was now closed.
Oh boy.
Between the touchscreen room and the next door enclosure, and a partner was present in the next door room.
Okay.
So if they touch the giving symbol now, the partner gets the food and not them. And so we can see how many times they're willing to donate food to their partner.
Gotcha.
And to make sure that they're not just touching the screen for the love of touching the screen.
Oh, who doesn't love nosing a good screen?
Everyone loves scrolling on a screen. So we gave them the same setup, but with no partner next door. So now they would be donating food to an empty room.
And they can't get it.
They can't get it. So this allowed us to check that they weren't just touching the screen for the fun of it.
For the fun of it.
And so we can compare that with how many times they touch the screen when an actual partner receives the reward.
All right. So you give them the two symbols. They figure out what they mean for that individual. What did you find?
The overall finding was that wolves were prosocial towards pack members. So if it was a member of their own pack next door, they would donate food to them more than to an empty enclosure, this control condition that we had where there was no other animal present.
Just a confused wolf or dog. Okay.
Dogs, though, were not prosocial. So for them, it didn't matter who was next door, pack member, non-pack member, nobody. they donated more or less the same amount, which was not much.
Wow, stingy.
Stingy.
So we've got the wolves being prosocial.
Yes.
We've got a different study saying the pet dogs have some prosocial capability.
Yeah.
But the pack dogs, stingy.
Yes. The idea that we have at the moment that, of course, needs to be tested is that possibly pet dogs are reinforced for being prosocial, or at least nice and sociable towards other dogs. Humans don't like unfriendly dogs. So people are, of course, going to reward and praise prosocial behavior. And so maybe it's some kind of socialization that happens to pet dogs that encourages them to be more prosocial. So it seems to be that it's a trait that they have, it's, somehow still from pre-domestication.
Buried deep inside.
That they can be prosocial.
But then even with the wolves, you said they're prosocial with members of their own pack.
Yes.
But when the partner is a member of a different pack that they're familiar with, but not in their pack, no prosocial behavior or what?
No, very little prosocial
Very little.
behavior. Much less so than towards pack members, which makes sense because wolves live in packs and you have to maintain your territory as a pack and work together as a pack, and you should defend your area from other packs. So it's beneficial to work together with pack members.
So humans are often prosocial too, right? Say we weren't friends. I'm a stranger and I just sent you an email asking you to come on my show and talk about your research. Would you be less likely to cooperate with me? Because I emailed your co-authors and nothing, just crickets from them.
I guess it depends on the motivations that you're thinking of. If I want to share my research with the world, then I would say yes.
Fair enough. All right. Rachel, thanks again for being here. Dr. Rachel Dale.
Thank you.
Studies show when you encourage your dogs to be friendly with others, you may be tapping into their way back wolf ancestry. Want to be prosocial yourself? There's something else you can tap.